आपने बुलाया?
नहीं माँ जी, आज अपने पेस्ट को क्या लेबल किया?
पेस्ट ही किए हैं।
इसको क्या किया?
वो पेस्ट नहीं है मैडम, वो हानि नहीं पहुंचाता है। हम आपको प्रेजेंटेशन के वक्त ही बताना चाहते थे। वो पेस्ट नहीं है, वो पत्ता जरूर खाता है पर पत्ते का सड़ा हुआ हिस्सा खाता है ताकि बाकी का पौधा ठीक रहे। हानि नहीं पहुंचाता है। एआई बच्चे की तरह है मैडम, उसको गलत सिखाएंगे तो गलत सीख जाएगा।
ऐसा है नेमा जी, क्लाइंट ने अगर बोला है कि ये पेस्ट है, तो ये पेस्ट है। आपका काम है लेवल करना, बस उतना ही करिए, अपना दिमाग मत घुमाइए। यही बच्चे की तरह है, फलाना है, ढिमकाना है। आपको सच में लगता है कि यही एक बच्चा है? पूरा परिवार बसाने आ गया है यहाँ। जाइए, जाके अपना काम करिए।
There's a journalist, as Anita was saying, there's a journalist called Karishma Mehrotra. I read her article and I realized it's a great premise. Instantly, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good premise. But in screenwriting and in filmmaking, this is a great premise is a great curse. Because your film can just plateau at that, and your film can just whatever. It can become just a spotlight on this job that's happening. Oh, Adivasi women working with AI, that's a great. But what do you do with it? So that's where the real question is, where do you take it narratively towards? And that's tackling that. I was going to take it towards a very different direction earlier. I was going to talk about content moderation actually, which is again, if you know, Instagram has these not safe for community standard, those videos, that things that come. So there's a human being that goes through those violent photos and videos. So, but at somewhere you realize that violence is an easy tactic in cinema. Violence is easy to pull off. There's much more to this story. I realized that this job is like parenting, because when these women are tagging a chair on the table, they're repeating what we do as parents. We teach our children how to differentiate between colors, paintings, objects. We force our morality onto our children. And somewhere, if this job is like parenting, could AI be seen as a child? The moment I reached there, uh, it opened up the whole thing to so many questions in this film. And when I was doing that, I saw these old colonial structures, मतलब single gauge trains हैं, arches हैं वहाँ पे, churches in the middle of nowhere, right? There's been a history of conversion, we know that, but it's not so much the history of conversion also as much as it's a history of colonialism in those pockets. Because India में या third world countries में the effect of colonization has been so severe, but the harshest of it has been in indigenous pockets. Like यहाँ पे where we're sitting is indigenous land essentially. Or it's systematic in the sense that people come, they make you believe that the way you live and your ideas are inferior to a larger. And हमारे साथ भी वही हुआ है, indigenous communities के साथ भी वही हुआ है, and somewhere the whole thing became about. I realized Jharkhand told me that theme. If there is an AI primarily trained on first world data, it can go in that same direction, which 300 years ago we all went towards. Because this is a technology for everybody, but it is not going to talk about me or you or all of us in this room. So I think that was something that really pushed me in the direction to write this. I just wish we could do like a theater screening for everybody, you know, the sound and everything. But this is great. Like,
Another time. We
Another
will do
time.
a theatre
Another
screening.
time.
Perhaps
the-
at
the-
Icon.
The mission came out perfectly. Needed because we got it all.
Yeah.
They're very good. I think this is a great audience because I think now everyone here
Yeah.
will look for all the Jharkhands in India, and people like her will help us. We will change what beauty means based on her and our philosophy by going all over India from here.
No,
No,
but
I
thank
think
you for
you've just done an amazing job
Amazing.
of marrying the social impact and giving the viewer a light into the life. And I was just remarking earlier that it's so nice to see that technology has reached even the remotest parts of India, and that the women are literate, getting literate, they are more confident, they are understanding AI, the basics of data labeling, and their knowledge, their indigenous knowledge coming to light with the turmeric and the root, the ginger root, and then also the porcupine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these all bring smiles to our faces, you know, to see women really come in their own.
Thank you.
So Aranya, there's a couple of questions. One, did you say Netflix has picked this up or?
Netflix has acquired it for streaming.
Or when will they start? You know,
It's already.
It's also
It's
started.
on-
okay.
Yeah, we released it November 10th. Yeah.
And have you translated to other languages also as subtitles?
No, actually, we haven't done that.
They should be able to do it because
They should
Amazon and Netflix, they know how to do it very cheaply.
Yeah, but I think they decided to not with us. Small film, I guess that's
Yeah.
the case. But we were trending for a while in India. We
And
trended in
so
top
it
10.
is straight to streaming. You didn't do.
We did a theatrical
You
release.
did,
We did.
and that's why you need that for Cannes or Oscar, right? You need.
You need to be, yes.
Yeah.
You need to be, if you need to be India's official entry to the Oscars, you need to do a theatrical release.
So
Which
what
we-
can we do?
I mean, we've done an Oscar campaign, right? What we are trying to do is that this film, iski miyad abhi khatam nahi hai, it's only begun in a way. And the journey, I wish I had done this literally in May last year or earlier last year, because we would have the momentum to everything to converge together. But even if it didn't, because it's a small film, it started in India with 100 screenings happening, etc. I want to do the same in the US. I want to do the same in Europe, because हमारे लोग तो ये समझ मतलब it hits us directly, but for any fruitful change to happen, it needs to happen here, where these decisions are being made and where this conversation is being happening. So this is one of the most important screenings in that regard. So I think we need definitely support to do multiple screenings, which entails two things. Of course, there's a monetary aspect to it, but it is also that, you know, people who hold value in this space to screen the film, like you screen the film for us, you invited people, one person will lead to 10 more people, 10 people will lead to, the way it should happen.
And I guess one of the points you made here, if I picked it up correctly, is to get the non-South Asian populations to
Yes.
also see it.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, Nitin, you and I are both members of the Palo Alto Films Club, and I would be happy to organize a screening there, which basically consists of a lot of non-South Asians. So I think it would be a good venue to do there. And then Sanjay, I know you've done some screenings at the smaller
I
theaters.
funded a film called Outsource 25 years ago. I'm making me outsource. It was a call center.
Yes, yes.
So
then
25 साल पहले.
I want to
And
know
we
what-
sold it to this thing, Netflix. At that time, the thing was screening, then DVD, and then streaming. Streaming used to come later.
Yeah.
And then Netflix picked it up, and then we had a TV pilot. They did, I think, 5 or 6 pilots, but Jama nahi ki.
Okay.
But I thought it was very well done. They did it in 1 month in less than $3 million budget.
Amazing.
In Seattle and India.
Amazing. And outsourced was like a US production or a Indo-US?
Indo-US.
Indo-US production.
Diksha kya uska naam tha actress ka? She was a very good actress.
Right, right.
And the hero was American. You know. He goes to do the to teach the outsourcers.
Oshim directed it. Oshim Alwalia.
मैं भूल जाता हूँ सब.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
Yeah.
But
You know,
other
one thing-
ideas
It's a
from
great
people.
movie. Yeah,
for
I love
getting-
that movie.
One thing I would say is, you were talking about screening it at Palo Alto. The best thing is to screen it in high schools here. Because
Yeah.
this is such a
Yes.
great film to educate even the students about what is AI, what can AI do, and what they should be careful about. So I think school-going kids,
Absolutely.
Good idea.
this film would be excellent for them.
So
We've
is
got
there a
some-
way to screen this with a link, or we, like Gay Kraus, she has at Foothill, she runs
We've got a whole auditorium. She
the
came
auditorium, and
as-
they have something called the Kraus Innovation Center.
Right.
There, one of the things Gay wants to do is teach the teachers about AI.
Yeah.
So this would be a good
Yeah.
topic.
I would like to talk to you afterward because I'm working on that project. There's a friend of mine who's volunteers with the County Board of Education, and he said that some of these community colleges are trying to start initiatives to incorporate more AI. And I met with the dean and the dean of math and science, and also the dean of the chair of the computer science department at West Valley College. So we've already started conversations with West Valley
Yeah,
College
we have
and
to
Mission College.
keep you in
So
touch.
I'm also interested in Foothill College.
Yeah.
I'll connect
So,
you to the chancellor.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I'm also, trying to work more with the MIT Alumni Association. The MIT has started a new initiative, they're a technological leader, but they have tried to, now they're trying to go add on a new direction, go more in terms of humanistic, endeavors. So, they're trying to get more involved with global peace and human initiatives. They recently had a conference, the HIC Human Initiatives, conference, and I put some recordings on my community page on YouTube. You can watch that. So they talk about using AI for like some of the things they talk about in the film, like improving agriculture and make.
Yeah, Aranya,
World
sorry to interrupt, but I
Conference
need
like that.
to use his time. In
Yeah.
February, there's a big AI conference in India.
Yeah, I'm going to that.
Yeah.
We go to that,
Yeah.
and they are talking about, the Piyush Goyal says we've got 6 indigenous LLMs.
Yes.
And that they're better, not better, but they're smaller, less parameters. But I think there it might be useful to say, if you are trying to do something in India, image generation or cooking or.
Harshini is one of the
Yeah,
elements.
So I think this film will help, that the
So
models the data has to be Indian, or
Yes.
different language.
Yes.
So that when you're asking questions about adrak ya haldi, it is more intelligent than the US.
Somebody saying turmeric.
I just wanted to say, sorry.
Harshina, go ahead.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for
obviously I-
coming a second time.
Yes,
You know, to support us.
I've been to one of your screenings and I'm really moved by the film. What I loved is that how you layer AI with human and the earth. And so that covers so many different layers, and of course, what women have to go through, what Adivasis, tribals have to go through, what separate, single moms have to go through. All those things kind of touch all the way to the earth is living, and that's where, and that seems so powerful. So this is a question, not a solution for you yet. I know there's a lot of solutions out here. So how did you come into bringing all this together? And the second question, I'll just tag on, the music, oh my gosh. It's just haunting, it gets to your soul while you're watching it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Getting all these themes, is a premise dictates it. In the sense, if this was a woman from any other tribe, then there's no guarantee that she would find life or see life in AI. The shot of her coming closer to the screen, and then the figure is trying to get up. That shot. So that moment is dictated because she is a tribal woman. If she was from any other community, it may not have happened. So because of the premise itself, there were 5 layers of storytelling that I had to do. One was, of course, Nema, her own meeting her own child self, the coming together of her own self. The other being the mother-daughter story. The third being her interactions with AI and getting attached to AI and then getting disillusioned by AI and then seeing it as humane, that it's possible for change. A fourth one being teaching, learning, and the fifth one being balance between the artificial and the natural. Like screenplay writing as a thing, as a tool helps us is like there's I'm sure you guys have seen Interstellar, right? Or Arrival. These filmmakers, what they do is that on an emotional storytelling, string of emotional storytelling, they hang everything they want to sort of say about technology, philosophy, things like that. So that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. That you put a string of mother-daughter storytelling, just hang on that. Yeah. And the music was actually the most tricky part. I actually have learned Hindustani, and I come from a background of music. I'm secondary filmmaker actually in my life. But it was so difficult because Adivasi music, the rhythms in it, and anybody who knows music, the rhythms are very different. Like they will sing in one bar, it will be like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. It will be different, and we are used to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like basically 4 bars of 4x4. So that became a really tricky thing. So what we did was we used the voice. There are 2 Adivasi songs in the whole film. Both of them are just voices, and the arrangement is so sparse that you need not give rhythm to it per se. And the other was, of course, we worked under such limitation. If I would tell you, we had only few samples. So we had a ghatam. Samples are like on the software. There are licensed instruments that you can use, and each licensed instrument is you have to pay like some $500 or something, right? And $500 in India is 40,000 bucks. And so to pay 40,000 bucks for a sample, you can't do that. So we only had like the ghatam, we had the cello, we had the violin, and we kind of worked with what we had. It really is that. Sometimes you just have to do that.
Yeah.
The work you had.
Yes.
So,
Just right after.
Sure. We all take different things away. Your layering example was very good. Because I didn't find that AI portion that you talked about was as compelling as a mother-daughter story.
Okay.
Or the struggle of a single mom.
Yeah.
And how difficult the life is. The reason I didn't find AI to be so compelling is because, you talked about a child and how child learns. It's a neural network. It's not the normal way the AI of tagging, etc. that occurs. And now, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, what you talked about the AI made sense. But now we are way past all that for me. Again, that's why I said it's so individual. So I'm curious, and that's why I liked your comment about different layers here. I wonder when you have asked Netflix or some of the others as to did they pick it up because of the emotional connection of mother-daughter?
I didn't have to ask them, I know the answer.
Or you know the answer.
Yeah.
Or AI, because I personally, for me, AI was not, it was just one of the carriers in the storyline.
Yeah.
But real impact for me was the mother-daughter and the struggle of the single.
Well, so the thing is that I know why they picked it up. I know because it's a conversation starter, this one. What it'll do is that it'll pull you in because of the premise that an Adivasi woman begins interacting with AI. It'll take you on that emotional journey of the single mother, etc., etc. Because of the power of the mother-daughter story, the conversations around AI will flourish, which is what has happened. The film has had so many conversations about AI in India, and I think, and in turn, Netflix.
So in what way is the conversation of AI? What's so unique about this?
I'll tell you, sir. So, in many policy spaces, the conversation about bias is there, but it's not as front and center as it should. Another aspect
Bias meaning Western culture versus the Adivasi? Or
no, AI bias. AI's possibility of introducing biases in its algorithms. And those algorithms kind of sort of reflecting historical biases. For example, when Amazon did a recruitment drive, they opened up their recruitment to an algorithm, and because that algorithm was being trained primarily on the data of men, it started hiring men. Right?
But that's all we know, like Brooke saying. Jesus, I mean, there are so many of them now.
Yeah.
No,
So
Nitin, if I may say one thing, I think you're a very sophisticated AI investor, many people, I think this is for a broad audience. So I think, no, I get your question, but this is definitely not teaching you AI, or most of the people here AI. But it's sort of like he said, gets the conversation starting in a very interesting new way.
Well, I guess I have a question back, sorry. My question back would be, you initially presented the question as there's a difference between neural network and AI, and I guess I'd like to understand what to you, in your definition, is the difference in that. Because I think a lot of how you phrase that and how you see that is going to impact what you take away and how you view the lens of the bias, or how it's being trained, or how it's being created.
Actually, I say it a little differently. If you had not picked AI, but some another carrier to tell the mother-daughter story, would it not have been just as powerful? For me, it would have been.
I don't think so, because
I agree with
I
think AI is
also-
topical
I
as,
think it's more
it's
powerful,
timely.
Yeah.
and even the
Yeah.
title, human in the loop,
Yeah.
is like, you catch it, you say, I should see this.
Right.
And then the story takes you somewhere else and you go, wow, so I think that it is a conversation starter, it catches your attention.
And I also feel so that it's topical, as you were saying. Two, it's going to affect all of us, and we are at a cusp with
Do it the
AI.
other way around. If you were telling AI story and didn't have a mother-daughter thing, would it in fact be less important? Yeah.
Would the film be as important?
Yeah, as impactful.
That would be a different film.
Yeah, exactly.
But your
If
technology.
you're asking for a different film, I'm suggesting a different film.
You-
I'm presenting a different film to you.
Your technology,
So,
you know that the AI is not just including the modern AI of training LLMs and neural nets, it includes the internet, that also changed society, it includes cell phones. You see all these things in the movie. Cell phones are used throughout this movie. And what I was amazed is that they had cell phone reception in the middle of that forest.
Yeah, and
But
the
it-
one-on-one, you don't have this.
So it's not just AI, it's the internet, it's cell phone technology, it's all of these things
It's all about
together.
reliance on the.
But
It's
I
gonna be a
think,
job also.
Nitin, to your point, I think what we need to go deeper is that the Western economies are so strong that everything we do, the English language, the Western gets a bias. So, for example, Ayurvedic medicine has a lot of benefit, but because there's not enough research done, not enough documentation, and the doctors are trained on only allopathic, so the other modalities for treating homeopathic are slowly dying. And if an LLM, like he said, it's like teaching the kid. If the LLM is trained on certain things, it will only expose those things back to whoever is quizzing them.
That's the 2 years old story, what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think at the end, this is like a movie that has woven in the woman angle,
That
the
I found
mother-daughter
extremely
angle,
compelling.
the Adivasi angle.
Yes.
The almost the advent of AI into rural India, the opportunity. I mean, I just feel like the story is woven in so
I'm
many ways.
very interested, sir, honestly.
No,
I'm interested in
AI
why.
is not being woven into rural India.
Not the story,
This is a
the-
job that they are doing in terms
The
of
story
tagging.
is woven into so many angles, all of these angles, AI being one of them.
No,
But,
if
sir,
I may,
please, but let's
what
get your
is,
perspective.
would be a contemporary story? If we were to only talk about, say, AI in the film, where are we? Like, I'm
No,
not
so
educated.
I think what he's referring towards, say, even I am developing at my startup company, really local micro data trained, which is what you mentioned, local data trained, local AI working in the local environment. That is the next generation. So in that sense, who are in tech, they are moving in that direction. But then I decide, so in that sense, you're good and your knowledge is good, but it's not a tech discussion.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. It's for general masses.
purpose.
And then the whole thing, so let's turn it around, because even the local data trained and this thing will develop, but who's going to compete still for next 10, 15 years, all these behemoth, five big data, big AI companies with $1 billion moat and all the data moats around this. So, and then some of the things, that's what I'm saying, you have already captured that there is biasness there, the ethical issues are there, and their bookish knowledge is there, and all bookish knowledge is someone's Western thing. So let's not further around and make it a technical discussion.
No, but that's the point I was making, that the
It's
technology
yeah.
moves way faster than filmmaking.
Yeah.
So, you know, a film cannot track technology. Technology is changing every day.
Right.
That's a when does it start? When does the movie reach?
So let
I actually have to tell you, this is based pre-pandemic. It's not even that.
Pre-pandemic.
Wow.
Wow.
See, that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not
That's
even,
the thing.
it's not even that I started making the film in 2022, but the film is based in, say, 2018, 19,
That makes
around
sense.
that.
So maybe I
That
would
makes
like to
sense.
ask
That
you one
makes sense.
question.
Imprints of two
What was your purpose in making the film to educate people about AI?
My purpose was to ask certain ethical questions.
Then
Yeah,
it wasn't
ethical
about
questions is
AI.
there, I think
Yes.
that's what,
Okay.
and because ethical
what's the
question
ethical
got
question?
woven with the human
Right,
thing,
you talked about
that's why it
that.
touches everyone. And
The
that's why it
greatest ethical question is who will AI large language models represent? Will it be only for a certain set of people who have the power and the money historically? Or will it also represent a lot of other communities? Like A.K. Ramanujan is a writer in India who's written about little cultures and larger cultures. He's written about the possibility that little cultures will be faded out because they do not know how to write. Their traditions are oral. That thing can happen again on an algorithm which will be used by everybody, but it will not have the signs of life of this indigenous community. That's the biggest ethical question that we're trying to ask.
So I just want to make a couple of comments about
And
that.
let me, I've been asking you. So, these are everyone's jumping into making it a bigger and bigger. I have two small things.
Yes.
One is actually, one audience which I want to take it towards is write some review in the technical audience.
Okay.
Because it brings in the human value and it brings in this, and it's fairly well known even in those circles. Besides these big large models have their problem, but ethical issue or global data issue, this is fairly well known, and also is connected with the also your climate issues or high power consumption issues. So in that sense, so what I'm saying, so in that sense, and we are in touch, so I need some information which
Yeah.
I'll connect with.
Yeah.
But my question is regarding this is you have done it very nicely. Is your next project would be again touching technology and the human thing?
Yeah,
That's what the
yeah,
question is.
I'm working on a nuclear incident story that happened in Delhi.
I see.
And nuclear incident story. Nuclear incident story that happened in Delhi. And
Aranya,
yes,
connected on LinkedIn.
yes,
And we'll help you figure out.
yeah, and I'll take your email ID. from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My son works for Anthropic. I'm gonna ask him to
Okay.
talk about this in his company and
Okay.
maybe get Dario to
Okay.
talk about it.
Thank you. So the nuclear incident story is I want to work at this intersection of tech and
Tech.
you know
So that's
humanity.
it, yeah.
Tech and humanity. I really want to do that because I think it's so untouched in storytelling. All of our lives are dependent on technology. All of our existence is around technology, which is what you were pointing out that in the film there are not. It's not just AI.
Yeah.
There's dependence on the phone. There's मतलब मैं झारखंड में I'll give you an anecdote, interesting anecdote that when I was we didn't have a film infrastructure there in Jharkhand,
Yes.
which means that there's no line producer to take you from location to location to spot a cave to this that. So I would be trekking with indigenous tribal boys, right, Adivasi boys, and all of them were wearing Naruto, which is a Japanese anime T-shirt, and they were wearing Crocs. They had these buzz cuts, and they were watching the same reels as me, right? So that essentially is a
Visualization has reached there.
we don't realize how internet penetration, what it can do in those parts, and it has both advantages and disadvantages. Those boys are starting to look the same. Everybody is looking the same.
One last question is, actually your natural beauty is also gorgeous in this thing. So, did you also, is it like, I feel like going and visiting Jharkhand now,
Right.
my next visit to India.
Please, sir. It's in
So-
June.
So the actors, where did you find these actors? Did we working with them already or?
The actors were most of them are from Jharkhand, except the main actor, who's not Adivasi. She's from Maharashtra, and everybody else is
Theatre.
Yeah, theatre, but Jharkhand centric.
Has the porcupine been part of a thing before? That was pretty interesting, the porcupine.
Yeah, it's something I was thinking about, I wanted to comment about.
I've never seen a porcupine so central. It was cool, it really worked.
There's been no, I don't think there is any other film which has had a porcupine in it. The porcupine is for 3 reasons. I'll give it to you guys, and you know the answers because I'm just repeating it.
Before you get the answer, can I guess what the answer is?
Yeah, please.
So, I wanted to talk about a few characteristics of the film, the role of the indigenous people having a greater understanding of nature, and then the corporations trying to enforce their power to use AI, and then AI will be, killing pesticides and upset the ecology. And then there's also, the film kind of briefly hinted about class struggles and the old caste system. And so, these traditions that are there in India, some are good, like preserving the ecology, not just killing every pest, not labeling everything randomly as a pest. At the same time, overcoming some of the negative setbacks of the past, like the caste system. So AI can be used for good and bad. I think that's the message of the film. But the hope is that, like you said, in the end, AI can change. So you can always modify it and use, and it's just a tool, whether you use it for good or bad. But the role of nature is also very important because, that's a larger thing. Trees and nature have been around for millions of years, and even after, I don't know how long the human race will last, but it'll continue. So, but we need to preserve nature. So all these themes are kind of hinted at in the film. But the porcupine, I'm not really sure. That seems to be like a symbol of the film. What I think it is the fact that they talk about the porcupine being a very gentle and defensive creature. It doesn't go and attack. It doesn't hurl itself at people and use its thorns, its spine to harm people, but it'll use it to defend itself. And I think maybe the symbolism there is that, as technology is changing so fast, we should have a more defensive approach. We should be cautious and that's my personal take.
You have. I'm glad that there's an understanding of it, but it's not.
But I just wanted to just share my input on feedback on the different themes that the film hints about.
Thank you for that. I mean, porcupine really is for me 3 things. It tries to have totems, like Kul Devtas and Devis in Hindus, right? Like the ancestral deity at the top of the lineage. And it is, a lot of times this ancestral deity will appear at the time of peril. That's one of the ideas which is there. The other idea is a very screenwriting oriented idea, which is that when Nima is younger, she has a relationship with a porcupine, which is the shyest animal in the jungle. What does that say about her? It says that she has a much deeper connection with nature than people in her own tribe. And because of that, she has a much deeper connection with her own self. Life happens to her. She goes away from that village. She gets pregnant with this girl. She goes into the city. she's called all these names, savage, etc. मतलब जो उसको सुनने को मिलता है, she moves away from that wholeness that she had as a child, right? But towards the end, when she sees her daughter call the porcupine across the pond, she's whole again. She finds that missing part of herself again, but through her child. So that porcupine is a connection between her childhood and her own lost self through her child. You know, it's like, I don't have a child. I mean, you guys will know this better. But I've seen a lot of people say that, you know, when I held my child in my hand, I felt complete again after a long time, for the first time or after a long time. So that was the idea. And then I also listened to a band called Porcupine Tree. So it's really because of that that it's there.
So
you know
my interpretation,
Yes.
which connects with your first state, I thought it's like because it's connected with mom's childhood and that she saved the daughter when she was running in the dark and guides her. So there's some Indian mysticism is
There
involved
certainly
there.
is.
That's what, and which is what you.
कितनी कहानियां हमने सुनी है ना कि कोई भटक गया and the
हाँ.
spirit
The
led you,
spirit led them to the
host led you up.
spirit,
You
Actually,
know,
so
it's
that's
so
what I-
interesting you said this because now I can see the connection of the start of the movie with the porcupine and the kid's head against the rock.
Yes.
And that was really the last
Yes,
scene as
yes,
well.
yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
and you don't think about these things unless you get into your head. You know, like,
Yeah.
uh,
But you know, a lot of times these things are just supposed to be felt.
but it was felt, but you know, now it's like, oops, there's a neural network here.
Any traction on corporate screenings, corporate companies?
We had interest from Meta to do one screening. But there was certainly interest, but like formally I want to do it a lot better now. Now this Oscar campaign is done. We have enough buzz in the US for it to become a bigger, and I feel like there's going to be a cult kind of following for this kind of a film.
So are the larger Indian IT services companies, the Infosys, all of, are they also kind of, because they also have CSR, they have a lot of things also which is
Right.
promote, are they showing any?
I think Nikhil Kamath was certainly interested to support it, but I haven't been in India and I was supposed to go and screen 3 महीने से यही.
Because
The
उनका भी
last
जो
time I was 3.
ये काफी जो काम है वो लोग पीछे बैकएंड में करते
Yeah,
हैं.
yeah.
So if it reaches them also it's helpful.
Yeah. Well, the idea is, I mean, I want to reach about over 1 million people here, so that that can become like a ground for like a global south perspective on AI.
So 1 million people see the movie.
1 million people see the film. For that, we require to do at least like the number of screens that we need to do is about 2,000 to 3,000 screenings of small community spaces. Not necessarily that I am always there. I can join online as well. But we need to do that for it to reach a certain momentum.
Yeah,
How many have we
You
done?
should see Los
We've
Angeles
done
History Museum.
in
right?
the US, we've
There are a
done
couple
about
of professional societies
57.
I'm connected with, I could ask them, because it has that value to.
Yeah, and the thing is, documentaries have been gaining a lot of momentum in the last few years because in Hollywood, a lot of you know, the 80s and 90s were, and the early 2000s were the hot time for Hollywood. That's when they have all the popular movies that came out, and the themes have all been used up by now. So they just have to recycle the themes, or just use CGI. But now there's more emphasis. Documentaries are becoming the most are one of the most popular categories on Netflix.
You know, I
Yeah,
see.
and it can be. I mean, there are all sorts of things. You have the documentary about courage, like the guy who did the free solo climbing, and you have the documentaries
Why
about
don't we do
anything.
one thing we can, you know, have, because everyone's got some connection somewhere which could benefit Aranya.
I'm going to talk to the MIT Alumni Association.
And
I am a link, but I would love to share my details as well.
so
Yeah, that'd be
Aranya,
great.
why
Yeah,
don't
we
you,
can all-
we can send it out as a thank you note to
Yeah.
everyone who's registered.
Absolutely.
And I've already connected you to Nitin
Yes.
and to Sanjay and Suniti,
Okay.
and I can connect you to many
Okay.
here that are right
I mean,
now.
if I may, just take down email ID, is that okay? Yeah.
We will do that
You will
as
do that
part of,
separately.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll do that
Okay.
separately, yeah.
ठीक
So
है.
we'll make sure that you
ठीक है.
get, that
At
we
least this
amplify the
can-
message
yeah.
encourage you all to put it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, of course.
So it
No, I'm right.
Yeah,
That's why we are connected.
That's
I
a
have
good
any information.
So,
I have to go, but
Yes.
can I take a selfie?
I'll take the selfies for all of you.
Yeah.
So one last question,
Yes.
what kind of an impact has it had
Within the
Yes.
communities
and in Jafna's?
We did like about 50 screenings already, and in the village also. And there's a certain this thing that you've told our story in a very
So they were happy with it?
very happy, because otherwise people are like only making exploitation oriented.
No, yeah.
Okay. We'll see.